Yeah, I mean, this team's got an unbelievable mentality, right? We're not going to be out of any game until the referee blows the final whistle. I think you saw immediately the response was to attack more, send more numbers forward, uh, and continue to kind of chip away. And again, using all different phases of play, right? I think these guys are doing a great job taking information in and executing, whether it's attacking set pieces, transitions, trying to break down low blocks, whatever it is, you're seeing guys really step up and want the ball and want to make plays.
BJ, you guys are still unbeaten at home in the regular season. I know you talked about just the mentality to come back and score 2 goals in stoppage time, but what does it do for you knowing that you have this crowd behind you and you've proven the ability to consistently win games here?
Tonight are nights where you really see the value of the fans and the crowd, right? I think when it goes 2-1, there's not a down moment in our stadium. It's a moment that everybody, 30,000 people and whatever amount are on the field and on the bench, are like, we're going to go get it. And I think that belief from the crowd, that belief into our guys, and combined with the belief that our guys have, is what makes this place a special place to play.
And then Nájar getting a goal and an assist. You talked about Sam grabbing the ball and kind of urging everybody forward again. What does it say about this team that the highest paid players and the leaders on the team are consistently just keeping that level?
Yeah, it's a great credit to them. Obviously, they have that torch to carry, but you see that they also have a great group with them, right alongside them, that's ready to make contributions, whether that's a Reed coming off the bench or Andy in the 90th minute, first 90 in a long time, to make a contribution. And I mean, look at who's making assists, right? Dan Lovitz has a great assists tonight. Jason Palacios is making assists. Yeah, it's a whole team effort, and I think when everybody kind of plays with this selflessness and wants to see each guy and each teammate shine, special things can happen.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening to you, wherever you're listening from. It's Sunday, August 23rd. My name is Russell Reese, and you're listening to the Nashville Sports Report. All right, well, we started today's show with a clip from BJ Callahan's post-match press conference last night after Nashville SC's dramatic come-from-behind victory over Columbus Crew. This win caps 9 points in 8 days for Nashville SC, a huge run in the congested part of the season. Last Saturday, winning 4-1 over Miami, then heading on the road to New York Red Bull with a late 1-0 winner in stoppage time. And finally, last night's win over Columbus Crew. They didn't just survive this congested schedule, but they actually won all 3 matches in very different ways. And it shows what kind of caliber this team is, I'd say pretty convincingly, squarely in the championship conversation. They started with Miami, going 1-1 into half before 3 goals in the second half really blew the game wide open. Hani Mukhtar was named the MLS Player of the Match Day for his performance. Additionally, Ali Saad, Andy Nájar, and BJ Callahan were all recognized on the match day team as well. It was definitely one of the better Nashville SC performances of the season and possibly ever. Then on Wednesday, they went on the road to New York against a feisty and young New York Red Bull team. It was a very close match all the way through until Maxwell Loegi got on the end of a Christian Espinoza free kick in stoppage time for the 1-0 win. This was also the first time Nashville SC has ever scored on the road against Red Bull. It was also the first win on the road against Red Bull. Additionally, in that game, Brian Schwacke recorded his 14th shutout, which set a new Nashville SC club record. He's got plenty games left to grow on that. And then finally, again last night, Nashville SC went down 2-1 in the second half to Columbus Crew before tying it up in the 93rd minute of stoppage time, a Hani Mukhtar corner that Reed Baker Whiting got his head on. We'll have a clip of that that was filmed by myself at the stadium last night. There's a link in the description. And then a couple minutes later, Andy Nájar scored the game winner to send Nashville SC to 9 points in 8 days. It caps what is truly a historic run for the team. They're 15-2-4. They've scored 49 points through 21 matches, which is the best 21 match start in MLS history. Nashville is legit. They are on their way to something serious. This is a special, special year. It might be a historic year. And now, for all their toils, they actually get a break and they can rest and recover before next Saturday when they welcome FC Cincinnati to Geodis Park. FC Cincinnati scores a lot of goals. They give up a lot of goals. That could end up being a wildly, wildly entertaining game for your league-leading boys in gold. Currently 9 points up on their closest competitor in the Shield standings, 10 points up on Miami in the Eastern Conference. They are really cruising. All right, on now to the Tennessee Titans. On Friday, the Titans welcomed the Seattle Seahawks to town for a joint practice. Cam Ward had an excellent day, 22 of 28, strong, very strong overall. Finished with a 2-minute drive touchdown to Daniel Bellinger and has continued to improve after last week's somewhat questionable showing. Apparently, the running game also really looked good in the joint practice. That's exciting to hear with the new look offensive line coming together. Fernando Carmona really starting to cement his spot on the right guard role. And so more exciting news there. The defense also wasn't shredded apart because they weren't playing against a team who'd practiced against them a lot. Alante Taylor recorded a pick 6. And on special teams, Joey Sly continues his hot streak after a dip in form about 10 days ago. He was perfect through the practice. All in all, it's a really encouraging sign that the Titans held up so well against the defending Super Bowl champions during practice on Friday. They will be hosting Seattle for a preseason match this evening. While it may be instructive a little bit, I again reiterate that I think at least what you see happening in the practices, what you hear happening in the practices, is much more demonstrative of what we might actually see from the team. So those reports out of practice, very, very good, very encouraging. Moving on to the Nashville Sounds, who are currently 66-57. They are 6th place in the second half of the league season, 6.5 games behind Indianapolis now. They are finishing up a 6-game series at Norfolk today, and then Tuesday, they head down to Jacksonville for a 6-game series against the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Vanderbilt women's soccer kicked off their season this week and are now 3-0. On Friday, they beat number 21 ranked Memphis 4-1. And coming off of last year's first NCAA quarterfinals appearance, Vandy looks very poised to make some serious noise this year. If you haven't, look into season tickets, get down there. Very affordable, family friendly. Get with Vanderbilt women's soccer. They're going places. Finally, in sports, Nashville Stampede had a successful home match, I guess you would call it, at Bridgestone Arena last weekend. They have a franchise record 8-game winning streak earlier in the season. They are still first in the league, and they have become one of the best teams year in and year out. This is an excellent start for the bull riding team. I don't know where they go next, but yeah, we've got a bull riding team to be proud of, so check them out. Okay, my guest this week is Michael Hanna. Michael is the chef, founder, and owner of St. Vito Focacceria. He's also my neighbor directly across the street. St. Vito specializes in a Sicilian-style pizza with the focaccia as the base. I sat down earlier with Michael to discuss how he got started in the business, what, if any, role sports play in their business activities, if they see any upticks during sporting events, and where things are going for St. Vito from here. I really enjoyed my conversation with Chef Michael Hanna. I hope you will as well. All right, Mike. Well, thank you so much for coming in. People at home can't see this, but you are the first in-person actual guest here. And before we got on, I asked you if you preferred Mike or Michael, and you said Michael, and I opened with Mike. So my apologies already. But
It's all good. It's easy to do this when you live across the street. So.
yeah, that's a good point. I don't know if people pay attention, but they may have noticed that I mine all my connections for these sorts of things. But we'll hop right into it. What is your favorite sport to play?
Basketball. Growing up, it's always been basketball. First
Okay.
love.
And you grew up in Memphis. You were watching like Penny Hardaway and those guys?
Man. So, grew up in Memphis and across the river in Arkansas. Both of my parents went to University of Arkansas. When I was a child, we had the Nolan Richardson 40 Minutes of Hell. Absolutely obsessed with Arkansas Razorback basketball and still am today. Hooked.
Nice.
So that's my number one sport. I had the VHS tapes of the national championship and the runner-up year of '95, and I used to sit at my grandmother's house and watch it every day.
That's awesome. I think you're the first Arkansas fan we've had on the show, so thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So that leads me to a question I think I might know the answer to, but what is your favorite sport to watch?
Definitely college basketball, specifically Arkansas, but I do love football.
Mm.
My wife went to Notre Dame, big Notre Dame family. My grandfather, Italian American, Catholic, huge Notre Dame fan. Grew up kind of rooting for him a little bit, but as I've gotten older and, now my significant other is a diehard and her family is a diehard as well, we definitely follow Notre Dame football quite a bit now.
Nice. I wish that I had married into a family I agreed with. I'm a Vols fan, and my wife and her family are all Bama fans. So it's true love when you can get over something like that.
Yeah. Football is also really high up there on the chain for me too. I mean, my father and I, we went to every single Arkansas football game, home game, for 15 years when I was. We would get after high school football games, we would just pack up the truck, drive all the way to Fayetteville, watch the game. I mean, we've had season tickets for years. Arkansas football is not much to root for right now and hasn't been for a while, but they hold a soft spot in my heart. My mother is from Dallas, so I think really one of the first pro football in when I was a kid growing up. The Cowboys were winning Super Bowls, the Hogs were winning national championships in basketball. My sports that was the climax of my sports fandom for sure. And I grew up a huge Cowboys fan.
Okay, well, we won't hold it against you, but yeah, I mean, I remember playing two-hand touch in recess, and we were the Redskins, and then we were the Cowboys. We were definitely fair weather fans around here, obviously until the Titans came. So
I root for the Titans. I like the hometown team.
Yeah.
I got really mad at Jerry Jones. He's an Arkansas alum. Got really mad at Jerry Jones a few years ago. I'm not gonna say I released my fandom, but I definitely said I have to slow down. I don't know about you more.
Yeah, I understand that.
I don't trust you.
Sometimes, especially as you get older, like there's something to be said for keeping the heart rate down, and yeah.
Yeah, nothing gets me upset more than, my wife Leah. She watches me watch these games, and she's just like, "I believe you're so invested in something like this." And I'm screaming and yelling at the TV. I'm like walking around, pacing, cussing, spitting, and getting pissed off. But
yeah, my wife does the same thing, but then it's sort of like, well, I feel the same way about 90 Day Fiance and how it's so it's a toss up. But that ties nicely into what was going to be my next question, which is, what is your earliest sports memory?
Let's see. When I was really, there's a couple. I got to watch the Redskins and the Cowboys at the original Cowboy Stadium. I was probably like 6. I got to watch Peyton Manning at War Memorial in Little Rock absolutely throttle us. I was at the Sternover game.
Oh, really?
As a child.
Oh, man. Yes.
I was also, I remember we went to some basketball games in '94, like an Ole Miss game. I can't remember what else. I got to meet Lee Wilson and Darnell Robbins, some of those guys. My dad took me to the Razorback Foundation alumni meeting, and I got to meet Danny Ford in
Oh,
1994 when he was hired. So I remember all those little things. Those are all very specific to me as
Yeah,
a child, sports memory.
that's awesome. Do you ever go catch them when they come play Vandy?
Yeah.
I love going to games.
I
in the logo.
try my hardest if they're anywhere around to get there. Like I went to the SEC tournament last year and watched every game.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay, well, all this sort of leads into how did you end up here in Nashville?
Work. Started cooking at a young age. My mother's side of the family, big restaurant family, kind of grew up following and watching along with them. Always had a talent for cooking, being in a restaurant, wanted to be in a restaurant, wanted to be a chef. Went to the University of Arkansas for a few years, always worked in a restaurant while I was doing that. And then just kind of made the jump at like 19. School's not really for me. Looking back on it, I wish I would have finished, but at the same time, done okay. And just, went straight into the restaurant thing. That's kind of it. Lived in a couple different places over the years across the country, Portland, Dallas. I was in and out of New Orleans for a while. I've done a lot of staging up in New York. And I got offered a job here at the Catbird Seat years ago. And I took that job. I had a choice. I could either move to New Orleans permanently or I could come to Nashville. And I had spent a lot, my family originally is all from, and I'd spent some time down there working at a couple of restaurants. And if you know New Orleans, you know that it is a wild place to be. And sometimes when you're in your mid to late 20s, it's probably a dangerous place to be. I felt like Nashville was like the more professional choice for me. So that's why I chose Nashville to Catbird.
Nice. I have yet to go to Catbird Seat, but it seems like a really, really fantastic meal.
Yeah, it's a cool spot. They have, they rotate chefs. So the chef at Iggy's, now in Wedgwood, Houston, was my chef
Oh, okay.
at the Catbird. But then I worked at Rolf and Daughter for a number of years after that. And then I helped him open his other restaurant, Folk.
Awesome. Yeah, those are two very, very good restaurants.
Yeah.
Love those. All right, on the Nashville front, we've established you're more of a Arkansas, Texas, Memphis sort of sports guy. Do you have a favorite Nashville sports team?
I mean, it's the Titans. I do love going to the Preds game. I wish I didn't grow up with hockey, and I wish, like, I love watching it live, and I love going to the games, and I wish that I was able to follow it a lot more than I am. The soccer team, those are amazing to watch live. I just, they play it. I never know when they play. I don't keep up with it enough right now. I got two small kids, so in the restaurant, so like it's really hard to be like, yeah, let's go to the soccer game on a random Tuesday night or something.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, most of their matches are on Saturday nights anyway.
Yeah, so I wish I could keep up with it more. Hockey is the one that I wish I really had the ability to more.
Yeah, one of my favorite memories the Preds came to town when I was 15 or so.
Yeah.
And I just remember sitting up in the 300 sections and like you'd hear these guys with these thick, Middle Tennessee redneck saying Russian names like, "Come on, Vishnicki, get him!"
Yeah.
It's just hilarious stuff.
The games are awesome. I like every once in a while we get sweet tickets from one of the vendors.
Oh, cool.
And I'll take the kids. My daughter loves it.
Yeah. Well, they had to learn early on, I think, the Preds, like, how to really entertain, because there was a good few years where, like, nobody here really understood the rules. I was fortunate. I played lacrosse in high school, and it's very similar conceptually. So I kind of picked it up pretty quick, but, like, the Preds had to get really good at entertaining, and so that was what they led with, and I think that they've kept that up ever since. Obviously, now Nashville is kind of a hockey town, but yeah, they put on a heck of a show down there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you have any favorite Nashville sports memories or moments?
I don't know. I watched the Music City Miracle live. I remember that specifically. We were, in Memphis, we were wedged in between Nashville and St. Louis during that Super Bowl, so nobody knew who we were. But there's a lot of animosity towards the Titans, and I remember I was growing up during that time. They came to the Liberty Bowl. The whole thing about Memphis, and I remember this. One of my best friends, his father was really involved with the NFL, and essentially we had always been told like Memphis was going to get a team. Like that was the market that was going to get it. It was there. The fans in the South, all the stuff. This was right after they had chosen Charlotte and Jacksonville as the expansions.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the Oilers came, they had this big stadium debate. Build it on Shelby Farms, build it downtown, whatever. They're having all this stuff. They had the Liberty Bowl. They're redoing the Liberty Bowl, all these things. And I don't know how much of this is always true, but like we were always kind of told growing up that the deal was in place to basically FedEx and all these companies were going to come in. They were going to make the stadium, a world-class stadium to bring to keep the Oilers in Memphis. And then at the last second, Nashville came in and said, we got the land, we'll build the stadium, blah, 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 blah. And before, it was like at midnight, they just like pulled out and said, oh, we're done. And they had to finish the season, they're the season and a half or something in Memphis. And I just remember everyone in the city being so pissed. And that has just brewed since then. Like none of my Memphis friends root for the Titans and refuse.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's funny from the Nashville perspective. It was like, yeah, they're going to be in Memphis for 2 years, and then they'll come here. And then after that first season, they were like, oh, Memphis hates us. We're going to go play at Vanderbilt for a year while we build our stadium.
Yeah.
So I don't blame anyone in Memphis for that at all, because that was quite the rug pull. But as a Nashville native, I'm happy to have them here. So.
But then when the Grizzlies were making the move, that was a huge point of contention, right? Everyone's like, don't make the same mistake you made with the Oilers. Do whatever you can to get them into the city. And they did. And it's been successful for them. But I do love the Grizzlies. I don't, and like when they came to town, I was so pumped. We had little season tickets for that too. We would go watch as many games as we could. I remember I got to watch Michael Jordan with the Wizards.
Oh wow, nice.
I was thinking back. You said Penny Hardaway. Yeah, huge Penny Hardaway fan. He originally committed to Arkansas, and then on signing day, sent his letter in for Memphis.
I did not know that.
A lot of the 1994 championship team came from Memphis. So there's like this guy named Keith Easterwood, old school AAU basketball guy, Nolan, and all those guys. They all were at odds with each other. They were like, they hated each other. So it was like this whole thing. Penny Hardaway is a really good person. When I had moved back to Memphis, I moved back to Memphis before I moved to Nashville. I had lived in this house near the University of Memphis campus. And there was a little local coffee shop chain breakfast place, kind of like a Waffle House diner, CK's. And they had them all over town. I think there's I don't even know if there's, but on Sunday morning, Penny had breakfast there before he went to church. And after a night of partying, we had gone into CK's. And he was sitting by himself eating breakfast. And I kind of was like, well, here's this hero of mine. So I went up to him and I said, I'm not trying to bother you. I said, just want to let you know I bought every single pair of shoe you ever had. And I said, also, I'm a diehard Razor. And he started laughing. He was like, well, I appreciate that and whatnot. But we had a nice little conversation. Love Penny Hardaway.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Penny, man, never met him, but I always loved watching him play. Not to pivot it back to Nashville, but it is a Nashville sports show, so I will do it. Who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of Nashville sports? And this is specific to you. Not what you think other people would say, but for you, if you even have 4, who would you put on there?
Pecorine. Do you put Pavia on there?
Can do. I
think you have to go with McNair and Eddie George. Man, I guess I'm not as familiar with are you allowed to put Mookie Betts on there?
Sure.
Since he's
he's from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like people who are from here that Brandon Miller, isn't he from here? He's playing for the Hornets. I guess, but you gotta go McNair. You gotta go George. I think I want to say you gotta go Dyson or Wycheck.
Those are good. Those are strong. It's up to you. I feel like everyone that's come on, McNair and Rene have been sort of the through line.
McNair, Rene for sure. Then I think you got to go Eddie George. Then I think, is Yossi somebody that should be on there?
I think he's getting there.
He's getting there.
Certainly feels like he could end up there. I'll be curious to see what it looks like after he retires, because he's another one. I think, until the Shea Weber got traded for PK Subban, I always kind of thought Weber would be here his whole career.
Yeah, for sure.
And now Yossi, I think, is the one who's going to
Yeah.
sort of complete and fulfill that. So I think Yossi is definitely going to be a Nashville legend, and maybe the next person to get a statue up outside of Bridgestone. So
Yeah.
all right. Well, do you have any Nashville conspiracy theories or hot take that you want to get off your chest?
Conspiracy theories or hot take?
You don't have to. It's
I
okay.
mean, all right. Hot take. Hot take is I'm not 100% sure we need a baseball
Okay.
and I have my reasons behind that. Now, do I want a baseball team? Sure, because that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I love live baseball's the best. We take the kids to the Sounds game; they're great. Would love to be able to have that downtown. But the other side of me says no one's going to be
Mm.
that, and that's just my opinion because I think that you are in Braves country and you have been forever,
Mm.
and the other half of the city is like Reds fans. A lot of old school baseball fans are Reds fans because I remember hearing like back in the day you could only get the Reds game or the Braves game like on the radio. Like
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Or the Cubs. We used to get TBS and WGN.
WGN, yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's like, is the fandom there? Like, are we gonna have home fans? Are we gonna have enough home fans, or is it gonna be like you move an AL East team over to here, and now your stadium is just filled up with Red Sox?
Yeah. I mean, it's possible. I actually had Nancy Schultz from Music City Baseball on the podcast about a month ago, and she said pretty much certainly it's gonna happen. Like Manfred wants to get the team announced before he retires in 2029. But two, and I don't think Nancy said this, but somebody else I was talking to said one of the things they're thinking about doing is getting rid of the AL and the NL, and just going kind of more regional. So it might end up being like, yeah, they're directly competing with all those teams plus the Cardinals, but
Whoa.
but I do think, it'd happen eventually. Like when the Preds first moved to town, there were a bunch of Detroit transplants who were working down in Spring Hill at the Saturn factory,
Right.
and they all bought tickets, and they would root for the Preds. 80 games a year, 2 games that the Red Wings came to town, they would root for the Red Wings, and that sort of died off now, and you don't really see it. But I think it would take a while, but I think the same thing would happen here.
Do you remember during the Western Conference Finals in like 2016, 2015 or 2016 when we were playing Chicago and weren't they like screening area codes?
Oh yeah,
for
they still
tickets?
do that.
They
Yeah,
still
yeah.
do that?
Oh
Like,
yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's the other part of it. Like, we're a destination for a lot of these fans. It's like, oh, I'll go to Nashville and I'll see my team play, and I'll go honky tonk or
Yeah.
whatever. So, from an ownership standpoint, at least, it's like, yeah, okay, well, we don't really care where the fans come from. Like,
yeah, as long as they sell tickets, it's fine, right?
Mhm.
Is that how you feel? I've heard this conspiracy. Maybe this is my conspiracy, and I've heard this thrown out there that the new branding of the Titans, the new coaching staff, the new stadium is like ownership in corporate, just like start over to try and capture all the growth that's happened here over the past few years and kind of create this new identity as like almost like an expansion program.
I haven't heard that, but I mean, I think to an extent, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like there is so much change, not just in the city, but for the organization. Moving to a new stadium, hopefully finding this new franchise quarterback that they've been missing for years. So, yeah, I mean, it could very well be that they just want to do a complete reset. I'd say the flip side of that though is as the city grows and we're now in this place where like our kids get to grow up purely as Titans fans, and they can have their heroes, or they don't have to be, but like, they can grow up Predators fans, and they can look back on their childhood sports memories in 20 years the way that you and I, like, I've talked a lot about going to see Vanderbilt basketball in the early, I'm a UT fan, but like those were the games that were here, and like those teams, I remember they did the best they did was the Sweet 16 in '94, but I could still name off like half that roster.
Yeah.
Like those were those dudes, and so I think oftentimes about for our children, it can be, oh yeah, Cam Ward when I was a kid, that was a magical time. Or eventually for them, the baseball team, if and when it arrives, they can grow up with that, and that's how you build the real sort of fandom and base. But the nice thing is for the Titans, for the Nashville Stars, or whatever they end up being called, I think, is that in the meantime, people do want to come here and party and go catch a ball game
Yeah.
or two.
Love the name.
Yeah.
Nashville Stars is great.
Yeah, it's actually the old Negro League
Yeah.
team that played here. I think it's a super cool name.
Yeah.
Nancy did tell me when she came on that that's what they're suggesting, but they're still looking for a majority owner, and that person could go another way with it. But I hope they keep it. So we'll just have to see. All right, so this one is a little more straightforward for most of my guests. It's my non-sports question. And it is, what is your favorite restaurant in Nashville? But I want to add some caveats to you because you're a restaurateur and have worked in town. I want to say, what is your favorite restaurant that you are not or have not been directly involved with? And you can name a few if you
Well,
want.
what is my favorite restaurant, or what is the restaurant that we eat at most? That
I'll take both.
because I think the clear favorite of like best restaurant, best service, best food, most creative, all the way around is going to be Locust on 12 South. I am biased. Trevor's one of my really close friends, and I have worked off and on with him over the years a little bit. I don't have anything to do with Locust, but you know, the way he thinks about food and service and stuff is like nobody touches him. It's great. Not in Nashville. Um, I think the restaurant that we love the most, and I am biased here too because this is one of my really close friends, is SS Guy, the Thai fried and roasted chicken restaurant. That's just like at the Wash on Gallatin. You walk up and order and take it home. Like what he does is like that is an incredibly accomplished chef that has put some parameters around his concept and stays in his lane and doesn't move out of the ordinary really, and is like, this is what I do, this is what we do really well. And by doing that, he's become incredibly consistent, and it's good for the family. The roasted chicken, the fried chicken, whatever, like it's all tasty. It can be healthy if you want to get the roasted, right? I usually get the fried though. But yeah, I mean, I think SS Guy is probably it for us. I mean, we crave it. We order it multiple times a month. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an awesome answer. I love a lot of what's going on over at the Wash. And I do appreciate, like, I kind of associate that with sort of like a Japanese mentality of like, I'm going to pick this one thing
Sure.
and I'm going to just think it through to a level of that's almost kind of ridiculous and just like perfect it. And it's going to be my thing. And yeah, the bird at SS Guys.
Yeah. I think you're going to see more of that. You're starting to see a lot of that, and I think you're going to see more of that just from the pure economics of the city, right?
Mm,
I mean, it is so expensive to be a restaurateur here. It is as expensive as Manhattan. Maybe the taxes are lower, but like your price per square feet are not. It's every bit as expensive in 12 South or anywhere downtown Nashville as it is in Manhattan, and it's a little bit out of control for sure, especially with that whole property tax thing they did downtown area.
mm-hmm.
But like with that comes, well, how does someone that wants to do this, but how do you operate? And like, yes, out of town restaurant group that has 45 restaurants across the country can come in and have a 300-seat restaurant and pay $55,000-$70,000 in rent a month. But your local mom and pop and independent restaurateur can't. They can't do that. What can they do? They can take a 1,000 square foot space or a 500 square foot space, and they can, limit themselves to do one thing and one thing really, really well. And that's what they, hope that they can do volume out of those small spaces. That's kind of the key. Can you find a small spot? Can you do volume? And does your product speak to the mass?
That's really, really astute. And it helps me lead into my next sort of question and kind of getting into your work history. You founded St. Vito's Focacceria about 6 years ago now during
Yeah.
the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
You want to tell me a little bit about how that got started, what inspired you, and why?
Yeah. I mean, July of COVID 2020. Like I said, it cooked my whole career, had gotten furloughed, had been really focused on simplifying the way I wanted to cook, and had a bread recipe that I had been making for for a few years, maybe, just kind of on my own, and was reading a book called uh, Made in Sicily by Giorgio Locatelli. There was a chapter on Sfincione style pizza. I started reading it, and it gave this history, and I realized, like, I had seen this in my past, in my family, all these different places. I'm like, oh, they used to serve this at Jimmy's Food Mart. They used to, oh, they have. So I was like, well, let's make it. So I started with you know the base recipe and moving forward, and then I thought, well, what if I use my bread recipes? My bread recipe is, it's all sourdough. It's highly hydrated, super crispy. It's really light. This might make an awesome pizza. So I started playing around with it, and I started giving them away to all of my chef friends around town and getting feedback. People were like, this is awesome, or this needs this, or this needs that, and whatnot. So I just kind of tooled it and worked on it. And then, decided, all right, well, let's just start selling them and see what happens. So we started selling them out of the house. We started an Instagram page and we sold them online. 8 pizzas a night, whatever. Pretty soon it was like every Thursday through Sunday we were selling 10 pizzas, and we were making a little bit of money over the past few months. And then it was like, hey, let's see where this can go. And really, that's it. We crawled, we walked, and then we ran. Raised all my own money and funding. Have business partners that came in, ate with us at multiple different times during pop-ups, and just used my connections and network in the city. And really, it was a whole grassroots thing. We grew this thing literally from the house to the brick and mortar, like that. I mean, over a 3.5 year time span. So
Yeah. I remember very distinctly, and Michael mentioned earlier, he literally lives across the street from me. I remember just seeing cars lined up.
yeah,
That's what on earth
Yeah.
is going on over
yeah.
there.
Ernie thought we were dealing drugs.
I like that ultimately what you were doing was taking the COVID sourdough craze, like, and
Sure.
going on steroids with
Yeah.
it. So you guys, I remember you had pop-ups sort of over in East Nashville, and you were offering a couple of different kind of slices. I know the potato slice, I feel like, started hitting, or at least I became aware of it around then. How did you guys settle on where you are now in the Gulch? How did you identify that location?
Yeah. I went through like 5 or 6 different potential investors. You know, had to play them all close to vest and have to deal with all of them and figure out which deal is best for me. I had no business experience really. I was
Mm,
figuring out what a lender versus investor versus partner. Um, and we looked at a million spots. We we were we were in a handshake agreement. The lease was to be transferred over to us at 10 a.m. on like a Monday morning for the former Marquet Shep's Deli, which is now Emmy Squared Space.
oh, wow. Okay.
And at 9:59, the other side pulled out. So turnkey space right in the middle of East Nashville. That was like the dream spot that we were supposed to go after. I had a lease in hand for where Iggy's currently is in Wedgwood, Houston, and my business partners at the time uh, balked at it.
Mm,
This space we're in now is not, we didn't choose, we weren't like, let's go to the Gulch. It was more or less like, time's running out, things are getting more expensive. Here's a notable landlord that's offering us a white walled, decent deal in a small space that'll be easy to handle if we can do some volume out of it in an area town that is not the main strip of the Gulch, but on the other side of the Gulch. And after having a few conversations with the group called Samara Road that is doing a lot of the developing over there, because they also were wanting me to accept some investment money from them for some projects to maybe put Vito in some of their spaces, I knew that side was going to eventually be the heart of the Gulch,
mm,
and that if I could sign a deal at $40 a square foot now, and the chances are is that the first 5 years are probably going to be tough with construction, a small spot, on a side road, trying to like gain, what we do, get some popularity over there. But I knew that there were 2 more giant towers going in behind us. There's 2 more hotels going in a block away. The Pendry thing that's like, the condos start at 3 million. There's an
Mm-hmm.
Equinox. There's all that stuff going. I knew that was all coming. So I thought, sign this lease now and hope, we have a 15-year lease and we're in year 3. So like we're still part of the growth that's happening in that area, but we kind of established ourselves in that neighborhood over 3 years of like being a really nice restaurant to go eat at. And that's kind of how that whole thing felt. It's not like I understand, like, as a family man and living in the East in Inglewood, like, we're not venturing to the Gulch. Nobody in here is going to the Gulch. I get it. But kind of like when you're in that position of like you're raising money and you have people behind you and they're ready to do something, you know, you kind of have to make fast decisions. You have to say, all right, should I, is there growth here? Like, should we just do it here? Or keep waiting. And if the answer was keep waiting, that just meant that I probably would have to give up on my dream and go work for someone else. And that was like, that was just, that wasn't in my cards. It's
Yeah.
like, I come from the if you build it, they will come,
Sure.
Field of
Yeah.
Dreams
Absolutely.
sports podcast.
Yeah.
So, like, if you build it, they will come. And I've worked in places in the past that didn't have good locations, and I've worked in places in the past that were small and whatever. But we had talent and we had drive, and we put our head down and we made really, really good food, and people showed up. So that's the whole thing for me. I was like, look, I know this is not the most visible space. I know this is in a weird area of town that most people aren't aware of or come to at all. But I know that if we work really hard and make the food what we know it can be, it's not going to matter.
I think is a really smart move on your part in the end. I've come to realize, at least this is my perspective on things, that there's like sort of two lives in Nashville. There's suburban surrounding area, and then now there's this new thing that wasn't possible when I was growing up, which is downtown life.
Oh, it's like metropolitan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys are right in the heart of it.
Yeah.
And it's only going to be more and more.
Sometimes I think that there is a divide there, and I think that I have my frustrations with the city as a local as much as anybody, but I think one thing that needs to be repeated right across every channel. So here it is that locals also own businesses downtown.
Mm-hmm.
As much as we hate downtown sometimes, a lot of local businesses operate downtown. So next time everyone goes on a rant about, oh, I can't believe this parking and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, just around me, Peg Leg Porker, Maze de la Vida, Arnold's Country Kitchen, all right there, all Otaku, all local businesses, all live here, all have been here for years, all own homes here, all send our kids to school here. Like, we're locals. There's a lot of locals in that area too. So
yeah, that's such a great point. And I think that the old vision of downtown is still kind of tattooed in people's minds, but it's antiquated.
Sure. 1,000%. I think East Nashville is the same way. I mean, it's like, and I deal with this on a daily basis. People complain about, well, there's no parking down there about St. Vito. And I'm like, okay, well, where is there parking? Like, you're paying for parking at a vintage store on Gallatin. Like, it's not like there's easy places to park everywhere. It's like, well, where do you park when you go to Cafe Rose? Where do you park when you go to Rolf? When do you park when you go to Folk? Like, there's no parking lots.
Yeah.
It's street parking. A lot of it is designated for, permitting for the people that live in the neighborhood. It's like parking sucks everywhere, dude. And that's part of growth. That's part of being in a big city now.
Yeah. The missing part of being in a big city, of course, is the transit, but I don't think we're going to solve that problem right now.
Yeah.
And you guys also have delivery available, right? I mean, and what is your delivery range?
I think it's like 10 miles.
So
5 or 10 miles. Like, we anywhere. I mean, I get our pizza delivered to our house probably once or twice a month, just to, when I'm not there, just to check quality.
well, if you ever need some quality assurance people, and some folks across the street. Yeah, so I think I think there's a great point about parking. It's a great point about locals working downtown. My church is downtown, and I used to park there all the time to go to Preds games, and then they sold one of the lots, and there's now an apartment building being built on it, and then the other one they've farmed out to PMC, and it's sort of like, now we're like, well, I guess we're not going to go as much, but I love I think downtown Nashville is so much more vibrant. It offers so much more than, what is still in people's minds. I think really old locals, the Broadway wasn't even a thing
Yeah.
back in the day. It was like all brothels and
Yeah.
junk. And then Broadway became a thing, and Second Avenue, and we got a Hard Rock Cafe, and
Yeah.
there was that little.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, the Christmas Day bombing really kind of retarded the growth or the expansion of access for people. Something that just a little tangent. It's shocking to me that a bomb was set off on Christmas morning in our downtown area, and not even in town do you hear talk about it
No.
anymore. It's the
crazy,
crazy.
isn't it?
It's insane.
It's
Anyways,
crazy.
yeah, really crazy.
And what's crazier to me is he bombed there's like this hoopla about like data centers.
Mm-hmm.
He bombed a data center.
Yeah.
People are like, "Oh, look how many data centers built." And I'm like, dude, that building right there in the middle of downtown Nashville is a data center.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They've been around forever.
Oh, data centers.
I forgot about all. I mean, you kind of glaze over it a little bit. I think there's so much happening in the city. You're just like, oh yeah, well, a bomb went off. I remember hearing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it woke us up.
Yeah, and because we're only 5 miles from the downtown center from right here, and it's like we were up. It was Christmas morning. My daughter was like,
yeah,
and we were, and it like the windows were like, boom.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. My wife was half asleep, and she told me later, she's like, at first I thought Santa Claus landed on our roof.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, it's crazy that went on. And yeah, I think downtown's only going to continue to change now with the East Bank development, obviously the new stadium and everything that's going to be built around it. I think that's really interesting. Like, just as far as a project goes, the fact that like a whole, what'll essentially become half of our downtown is a blank slate right now.
Yeah.
And we're just doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, it's got to be one of the largest real estate projects. Obviously, they're all disparate, but that whole section over there is just going to, 10, 15 years from now, look entirely different.
Yeah. What's it going to look like? Chicago skyline? I mean, or, Atlanta at least.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, it's like,
I think it's really interesting that that's happening, and I'd love to know more about it. But let's pivot back to the restaurant now. Do you guys see a noticeable uptick in orders and takeout and delivery and whatnot when there are big events like a Super Bowl or like Preds or Titans games?
rule of thumb for a restaurant is close on the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Because everybody has a party and everybody's dipping and winging and doing their thing.
Mm,
I've never worked over 20-something years in the restaurant industry, close on the Super Bowl. So
Okay.
we don't even entertain it. Titans games are really hit or miss for us sometimes. Sunday lunches for us were always a time where we did see a lot more East Nashville locals coming over to eat. When there's a Titans game, traffic really screws that up, so it's a little bit harder on us. We see upticks in to-goes during, Monday Night Football, Sunday nights, stuff like that. We're always trying to run like campaigns or specials online, buy a slice, get it free or something like that. I think it's something that we should probably dip into more and more, especially for kind of how our lunch service, we kind of retooled our lunch service where it's quick service now. It's not like a sit down lunch service. You just come in, got a menu. We're making all of our focaccia sandwiches, and we got got a Philly style roast pork, broccoli rabe, chilies on the menu right now. It's absolutely insane. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. It's hit or miss, to be honest with you. When Vandy played Alabama and they beat them, it was like a Friday night, and or it was a Saturday night, and it was a really slow Saturday. Well, it's because everybody was glued to the TV.
Yeah.
And at the game. Big sports moments. We don't have any TVs in our restaurants. Which like next restaurant, I just want to do like a bar with TVs and make great burgers and stuff.
There you go.
We're located next to Neighbors, and it just overflows in the street with people. So I think we miss it. I think we miss a lot when it comes to that. But we get a lot of athletes coming to eat.
Do you?
Yeah.
Cool.
Jared Allen is
nice.
Jared Allen and his family are regulars.
I didn't realize they were in town.
Yeah, they live here. Randall Cobb.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Skronsky.
Yeah.
Orders a lot of to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I have fun with that. I have fun with the 104.5 The Zone guys. Blaine Bishop comes in. Will Bowling and Ramon Foster. I'm always like texting, because they're like They
come.
want to come. They're like, hey, we're gonna come in. What I'm gonna do is just send them a care package or something.
There you
Come
go.
on, guys. Like,
Yeah,
I got that. All of a sudden, in like a span of like 3 days, that whole radio station was like following us on Instagram.
that's
And I
awesome.
was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna start DMing. I'm like, come
Yeah.
on, you guys. And so Blaine Bishop came in, and I texted him. I'm like, what's up? How was it? He's like, dude, this is awesome. I'm like, thank you so much.
That's awesome.
Tell your friends, come back and see us. Throw some stuff to the studio. It's right down the road from us.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of sports, like Josh Pate, college football show, like he's here. There's a lot of people here that, I don't know, right in my area too. I need to tap into. I want that sports guys to start coming in.
Yeah, it seems like it's the perfect thing for a lot of sports guys too. It's nice. It's pizza, but it's heartier.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I got into a kitchen. I was a super competitive and athlete growing up. Always played every sport.
Mm-hmm.
The discipline of the kitchen, being on a team, it all goes hand in hand. So when if I didn't cook, I'd do something in sports.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it'd be media or coaching or something, but I would definitely do something. And I saw a lot of similarities, which is one of the reasons why, I kind of went towards it.
Yeah. My wife and I have actually both worked in professional kitchens in the past, and I talk about that all the time with her. It's athletics.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It's
fast pace, it's body control, it's endurance,
retention.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Being on the line, having somebody yell out orders to you. And,
Yeah.
yeah. There are a lot of similarities for sure. Well, I hope that you're able to corner more of the market. So what's next for St. Vito's? What do you guys?
We're gonna keep pushing. The restaurant landscape, unfortunately, in Nashville is in a weird spot. We're gonna have to let the dust settle a little bit on what's about to happen. There's so much growth, and there's tons of out of town, massive restaurant groups coming in. The new chain era is what I call it. It's like when we were growing up, your chain restaurants were Applebee's and Chili's and whatnot. And you're like, yeah, and there's nothing wrong with those places, right?
Yeah.
They're corporate and they do it. Well, the new chain era is like restaurants where it's elevated more than a chain, but they're ran like a chain. But you don't. I think there's a whole group of people who may not recognize it. So when like these massive groups from LA and Chicago and New York come into town, and they're like, oh, so and so from New York is here now. Okay, yeah, but like, it's there's also 7 of them. It's just a chain restaurant now. So
Yeah.
like, what made it really special in New York isn't necessarily what makes it special in Nashville, right? And what makes so I think that the industry as a whole has to we got to see what the market wants. Does the market want independently owned restaurants, or does the market want, the big name groups?
Mm-hmm.
Those big name groups aren't putting thought and the time and effort into their food the same way that the independent ones. For us, we're going to stay the course. We're a Michelin Bib Gourmand restaurant. New York Times top 25 3 years in a row. We're just going to keep doing what we do. Focus on us. If the right opportunity comes along, we'll jump on it to do something else. But right now, I really enjoy just being able to be in the kitchen, manage the business, be with my team. It's the first time in 3 years where I have 2 days off most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to, spend a little bit more time with my family. I don't have to be there every single waking hour that the restaurant's open. So like, do I want to jump into opening something else to work another 90 hours a week for 3 more years? Like, probably not.
Fair enough.
So,
yeah. I would point out too, I think one thing that's special about what you all are doing, you mentioned other people coming in from out of town. Well, they don't have you guys.
that's right.
Like Nashville is lucky to have St. Vito's because you can't find that in most places. Maybe not even in New York. I mean, you would know better than I, but like.
But our pizza is so unique. It really is. I mean, there's other grandma style, Sicilian style pizzas out there, but they're just using their leftover dough from their round pies. We don't do any round pie. Ours is just our square slices, and it is 100% hydrated, always sourdough, baked fresh daily. Like, there's just something about it that's so different. And we live on that edge of like pizza people loving us, but then our other food is, because I come from more of like a casual fine dining kind of era. So it's hard for me not to cook that way sometimes. Put a lot of thought and effort into these other dishes, we have regulars that come into the restaurant that don't even order the pizza. And I think that's huge. That's a weird thing for us as a business because we have to like make sure that we please those people all the time, but also like we have to have the pizza on the menu because most of the people we serve like are out of town first timers.
That's how they find you.
Yep.
Well, that's awesome. Okay, one just sort of personal question for me. I tried to make a starter during COVID, failed horribly. What's the secret? What do I need to do? Don't give away the game, obviously.
Yeah, there is no secret. It's number one, when you think it's dead, it's probably not.
Okay.
You're putting too much thought into it. It's literally flour, water, and your active yeast and bacteria, right? That's it. If you feed it consistently, you're gonna have, like, for me at the restaurant, we feed it twice a day. Now, do you need to do that at home? No. You feed it once a week, throw it in the fridge. When you're ready to use it, pull it out, let it start to, feed it and let it eat, and then use it. You'll be fine.
You leave it out after you do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you always want to feed it, put it in the fridge. Like, you gotta think about this. Like, it's the flour and the water, and then your starter. And your starter's alive. The flour and the water, that's its food, right? It's just eating. We can only eat so much, right? So once it stops eating, it's starting to die. Well, if you're not using it, let's feed it. Let it eat. Let it live. If you're using it, you want it to be nice and healthy. So you want it to, by putting it in the fridge, it kind of makes it dormant, kind of retards it a little bit, but it still eats. It eats slower.
Okay.
You pull it out, it eats faster. So, like, if you mix flour, water, and some starter I give you or something on a Monday, and you feed it at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then you come back the next day and you feed it again at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you do that for like 4 or 5 straight days, you've got it on a schedule. You can feed it a big feed. You can go like a little bit of starter, a lot of flour, a lot of water, whatever, put it in your fridge. It'll be fine for a week. Pull it out, say, I want to use this. Take some out, feed it, 8 a.m. You can make your bread that night, let it go in the fridge, come back the next day, bake it.
All right, well, before you go, what are St. Vito's hours? How can people find you?
7 days a week, lunch and dinner, 11 to 2 lunch, 5 to 9 weekdays, 5 to 10 weekends for dinner time. No reservations at lunch, just walk in, it's quick service, you order at the counter, you go sit down, we'll yell your name, find you, whatever, serve your sandwich. We're doing sandwiches and slices only for lunch. We have an extensive dinner service with lots of shareable smaller plates, and more on the fine dining world. Our pizza's still on the menu, and then a couple little entree dishes. Find us at St. Vito Focacceria on Instagram. StVitoNashville.com is our website. Yeah.
Awesome. I'll make sure to link all that in the description for this episode. Chef Michael Hanna, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming over.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
All right. All right. Well, that was our interview with Michael Hanna. My thanks again to him for coming on. I will be linking to his website and Instagram in the description below. Please check them out. Give them a follow. Order from them. It's delicious. As always, we would love to hear from you. You can find a link to our email box down below. We are also on Twitter and Blue Sky at NSH Sports Report. Reach on out. And otherwise, hope you have a wonderful weekend and a great week. We'll talk to you next time.